Hello and welcome back to Studio Session. I'm Katherine and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Getting started with today's report. For reading, I just finished Frankenstein. I actually went a little bit ahead. I don't think my class reading is actually due for another week, but I just decided to go ahead and finish it because I was genuinely curious what would happen next in the plot. And I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I don't know, I really liked it. I'm glad I got to read such a classic book and actually enjoy it. So that was really cool. For eating, Easter is this Sunday, and that means that I will finally get to have my favorite candy, which is a Cadbury cream egg. The little Cadbury mini eggs are good too, but I just love the Cadbury cream eggs so much, and I think they only sell them around Easter time. Very sad. They should sell them year-round. For playing, I've had my summer playlist on repeat. I cannot wait for summer. I'm just itching for summer, so putting on these songs reminds me of brighter days, and I just need summer so much. For obsessing, kind of similar to what I just mentioned, I'm just obsessing over the fact that there's only 9 weeks of school left. It feels like so few and so many at the same time. 9 weeks, we can do it. For recommending, I recommend that you clean out any folders or binders that are kind of collecting clutter. Quarter 4 is almost upon us, so now is a good time to get rid of anything that you don't need. And finally, for treating, I love shopping on Depop and Poshmark. It makes me feel like I'm thrifting stuff, but it is thrifting, but it's online thrifting. So it's thrifting, but you can find exactly what you want, which is really cool. That's it for today's report, and let's jump into our main segment. I'm joined with Lucas for our main segment, and today's album review for Violet, Our Last Color of the Rainbow, is Guts by Olivia Rodrigo, but we are going to be reviewing the Spilled version, which has bonus tracks and was released very recently. This album was originally released in 2023, this past summer, and it is a pop album. Okay, my favorite song on this album is Love is Embarrassing. This was my favorite when this album was first released, and I don't think anything has ever topped it, even though I've listened to this album so many times. This song is just so fun. It's upbeat. It's kind of pop-y, but I just love the lyrics. I think they're unique. I think they're kind of funny, and just something about this song. I love it so much. So Love is Embarrassing is my favorite on the album.
For my most favorite, I picked Teenage Dream. This was a great song. The message is there. It's got a very aggressive drum work throughout the song, which I think is incredible, and it's just one of the more highlightable songs on this album. It doesn't really have I personally, if I'm judging an album like this, it's okay, I have not heard this song before listening to this, and based on that, I could tell it's not one of the top pinnacle popular Olivia Rodrigo songs. I think it deserves to be. Everything about this song is incredible.
My second favorite song on this album is the album opener, All American, and I cannot say the last word in the title, but I'm just going to call the song All American. And I just love the tone shift in this song. It starts kind of calmer, more I don't know, just calmer, but then it immediately goes into this more hardcore rock grunge kind of pop song, which I just thought is so cool. The lyrics to me kind of focused on society's expectations for young girls, and it's just kind of an angsty, rebellious song that kind of goes against those norms, which I just thought was so cool. I love that there is those two tones. I think that it kind of sets those two tones for the album. I think there are a lot of songs that fit with that more rebellious side, and a couple that fit more with that sadder, more melancholy side. So All American was my second favorite on the album.
For my second most favorite, I picked Making the Bed. This is a very good musical showing, similar to the last one. It's very Taylor-ish, I felt. It's got good lyrics, and at certain points in this track, I'm just wow, this is definitely a complete product and one of the better songs on this album.
My least favorite song on the album, I gave it to Girl I've Always Been. This is one of the newly released bonus tracks. I didn't dislike this song at all. I think this fell to my least favorite just because it's new and it hasn't really grown on me. It's a shorter song. It's slightly more I wouldn't call it folk, but it's less pop or rock a lot of the other ones are. So it just was something I wasn't really expecting. Just not really a standout for me, so unfortunately Girl I've Always Been was my least favorite.
Okay, I don't know if this is gonna be a hot take because this is definitely one that I've heard before listening to this album. My least favorite is "Get Him Back." It's just a couple weird sounds on this one. Again, so I remember on the last album there was like a weird ping pong sound going on. There was a couple of those on this one, and it's not my favorite vocals compared to the other songs. At some points I'm like, eh. Um, Definitely suffering from good album, mediocre song category here, and I gave my least favorite to "Get Him Back."
My underrated pick for this album is Pretty Isn't Pretty. This song is just like so heartbreaking. It's kind of about like the reality of being a teenage girl in today's society. I thought the lyrics were beautifully executed, they're relatable, and I just think that songs like these are so important to show young girls that they're not alone in their struggles. Yeah, this song just really spoke to me, and I think it definitely deserves way more recognition.
And I gave my underrated pick to Lacey. I thought, again, this is another track where the vocals are great over a background that's truly complementary to her voice. Very good overall. And again, one of the highlights of an album where there's a lot of good pieces.
This brings me to my overall album rating. I gave this album a 9.5 out of 10 because I think I genuinely loved every song on this album. It's definitely one of my favorites to come out of 2023. I think that if there was like a little more depth to some of these songs, a little more like intricate songwriting, it could have been a 10. I just don't think it was like the perfect album, so I could not give it a 10. But I did genuinely adore every song on this album. It's right up my vibe, right up my alley. So I just loved it so much. Yeah, I think it really captures being a teenage girl. The spilled songs for the new releases, they were a great addition. Yeah, I just thoroughly loved this album.
I said that this might have been the most 8 out of 10 album of all time. This is definitely up there in terms of the ones we've done. I actually kind of disagree with the last sentiment. I felt like the new tracks weren't exactly memorable. So for that reason, it got a little half point deduction for quantity. I gave the same thing to the 1989 Taylor's version. I just felt like it was a little too long. I think it would have been better had she cut it. But I think it's very interesting how, in my opinion, the better songs on this are the ones that I have not heard before. And yeah, this is a stellar album. Olivia Rodrigo definitely looks like she is one of the best in the game with this one.
I definitely agree. I think that there are so many tracks on this album that weren't necessarily like radio hits, but definitely deserve to be. That's it for our album rating, and let's jump into our next segment. For our next segment today, we are going to be doing another playlist essentials, and our topic today is best songs from international artists. So this just means artists that are not American. My third place pick was Chiquitita by ABBA. ABBA's a Swedish group. This song is just, I love this song so much. It's so sweet. The instrumentals are beautiful. Some of my favorites like ever. The tune is just so beautiful, and it's almost nostalgic, even though I don't think I ever listened to the song as a kid. It just makes me feel like I'm a kid again. Just something about it. It's magical. So that's my third pick.
My third favorite pick, I picked "Water" by Tyla. I've heard this song a lot lately. It did. So I believe Tyla is from South Africa, if my memory serves me correctly, and it won a Grammy for a very similar category. This is such a good song. I really like the feel of it. It definitely flows, and it is worthy of my third spot.
My second place pick, I chose Don't Stop the Music by Rihanna, who is from Barbados. This song is just so fun. It's iconic. I love that it samples Michael Jackson's Wanna Be Startin' Something. Another honorable mention is Breaking Dishes by Rihanna. These songs are just so fun. Rihanna's just so great. I love so many of her songs, and I did not know she was from Barbados. That's really cool.
Now that I think about it, that is a great song with the sample. Very good work, Rihanna. My second pick is "Octopus Garden" by the Beatles. This is a banger. I've said this before. This is one of the best Beatles songs. Just feels like something you'd hear around. You'd be like, oh, it's Octopus's Garden. One of the sleepers, people, you ask them what their favorite Beatles song is, they'll say something like "Hey Jude" or "Strawberry Fields Forever." I'm not sure how many people would say "Octopus Garden," but I think it's worthy of that recognition.
And my top pick for songs by international artists, I chose Wonderwall by Oasis, which is an English band. I recently rediscovered this song. Like I've definitely heard it before, but I like heard it playing recently and I was just reminded of how good this song is. It is such a beautiful song. The lyrics just really show like vulnerability. It's about like you're thinking about this one person, like they're your rock. I just think it's such a good, meaningful song. Go listen to it if you haven't. I think you'll definitely like know the tune. I just didn't know it was called Wonderwall, but it's just such a good song. I love it so much. So Wonderwall by Oasis is my favorite song by international artists.
My top pick, I don't know if this is cheating because there is a feature and I'm like 1,000% sure the feature is American. My top pick is Levitating featuring DaBaby by Dua Lipa. The DaBaby version is unequivocally better than the original version. Both of these guys just go crazy on this song. One of the all-time good vibes songs. Every time this comes out, this might be the song of the summer every single year. If she re-released it, I think it would be. Just an incredible song all around. I wish it got more love. It kind of faded away after a couple years, but this is a complete track of just awesomeness.
Those were our top picks for songs by international artists, and let's jump into our final segment of the day. All right, so for what to expect next, when we return, we will be starting our April month, which is going to be our last full month, unfortunately. We are going to be cut short by April break and just a couple of other days off. But just because May is so stressful, we can't like dedicate a full month to May. It's like our last month of school. So April's gonna be our last full month. And for our album themes, we decided to review some of our favorite albums. We both picked 3 because there should be 6 podcast episodes. So I'm excited to do a deeper dive into some of my favorite albums and also see what Lucas's favorites are. Any final notes?
Shout out to Ariana Grande is getting my shout out today. I listened to Eternal Sunshine yesterday with my buddy. He put me on. Shout out to him. Album was great. Pretty short, not that thorough. And yeah, good album.